Hetepu Kingdom, Grand Rising, and welcome to Queen Mother Mayata Speaks. Welcome to the era of divine civilization. Ooh, you gotta love creation. Thank you for being here. This is a wonderful message. So what I want you to do is take your mind, your thoughts, your presence, and tune in to the greater understanding of the creation. If you've been told that you're made in the image and likeness, that's what I want you to focus on. However you refer to your most high, around here we say Aman, the hidden creator. We also say Netta, the divine force within. If you say God, Allah, Jehovah, whatever works for you to hear this message, it's okay. Continuing with truths, we need to know and understand. Truth number 3. Pay attention because this one is a really good one. Divine beings come out of blackness. Divine beings come out of blackness. Woo! On Earth, there's a magnificent star in the sky that regulates life on Earth. It's called the sun. That's why you have to know thyself. Pay attention. The ancient Kemites studied themselves. And the divine voice told me that the first science is chemistry. Kemites, chemistry. Because chemistry represented, it means black and blackness. I'm speaking facts. Pay attention. Blackness is a chemical in the body. Ooh. Blackness is a chemical in the body that allows one to absorb sunlight, which increases frequency. Matter of fact, blackness is a chemical in the body that absorbs all types of light, which increases frequency. Are you ahead of me in what I'm about to say? So, if you are walking around in this population of people, that means you have blackness, this chemical in your body. Wait a minute, Queen Mother Mayata. You mean everybody has blackness in their body? Yes. The Kemites studied themselves. That makes sense. If you're going to study someone, you might as well study you first. They study themselves to know thyself. And in studying themselves to know thyself, they understood the chemical blackness. They understood it. Here's something you need to know. The Greeks studied in the temples of Kemet to learn about themselves. One of the earliest Greeks was Thales, and it was going okay until you came down to the Greek Plato, who studied in the temples of Kemet for 13 plus years. And when he heard these truths that are self-evident, I don't know what was in his mind, but eventually what came out of him was the noble eye. We're talking about blackness. Don't forget about blackness. The Greeks developed their own term for blackness. And that term is melanin. That's why anybody who hates blackness hates themselves. Whoa. So now that you know black and blackness is a chemical in your body, blackness is biology. Whiteness is a construct. If you want to understand the concept of whiteness, you have to talk about the construction of America. When I listen to racism, which is a construct, especially when it goes against Black people, I understand they don't know thyself. They know arms, legs, face, feet, and all that other stuff. But to know thyself, to go into the inner workings. Let me tell you what know thyself is. Know thyself is learning the creation of you. Black folks, let me say this. I would like to talk to all people, but I'm definitely going to talk to Black folks. Don't hate someone who doesn't know themselves, who doesn't even know that they have blackness in them. And then the hate, I am not going to use my energy to hate someone who doesn't know themselves. It's not going to happen. I'm going to be the sun and keep rising. Life is a journey through the divine body. On the diagram, you see the celestial equator. Earth has an equator, right? The equator in the body, pay attention, will be around the navel zone. That, because equate means half, right? So if you take the Earth, you look for the equator, roughly half equal parts, top, bottom. That would be around the navel area. That roughly divides the body into halves. So what is the celestial equator? The celestial equator, you're getting ready to learn the truth here. Hold on. For all my praying people out there. For all my people who give thank you. When I say thank you, Netta. That's what I say. Because Netta represents the divine force within. Because when you know your energy and you targeted energy, you're a force, so you're the divine force within the universe. And it's all around you. That's beautiful. Let's go back to this. If you take Earth's equator and you extend it all the way into the sky, into the heavens, the line that it makes in the sky is called the celestial equator. The celestial equator in the body, and I want everybody to say this at the same time because it's on the diagram, is the heart energy zone. Woo! Now, pay attention. If the equator means half, then half below the heart energy zone to your feet have to equate to half above the heart energy zone. And if you take the half below and figure out what that would equal to the half above, you are above self. How do you get above self? You get above self when you raise your frequency of your energy to the divine frequency level. That's why prayers, calling forth things, work, because you're connecting to the divinity of the universe in alignment with creation. It's a beautiful thing. Let me repeat that. When you operate in the divine frequency, you are in the oneness of the creation. What does that mean? Everything that the Creator has created is in this divine frequency, and now you get to access the messages going across that divine frequency. This is why it's very important to know thyself. When you are less than that, especially when you are below the heart energy zone in your frequencies, you're not going past your head. It's not happening. And that's when you get into the debate. Prayer doesn't work. And every now and then, You might say something like, I heard a voice speak to me and said, do this, and I got the perfect results. It's a beautiful thing because you went up into divine consciousness. But to really transform and stay in the divine being that you're in, you have to know the creation of you. Pay attention. The noble lie is about the Greeks absorbing the knowledge and presenting it to the world as theirs. They did it first on their people. They created a hierarchy. They created this noble class of basically Greek men. And then they perpetrated the fraud. The people who taught them, the Kemites, Black people, and continued to teach them about themselves. They conquered, Kemet, changed into Egypt, presented it as themselves, and then passed this on to the world. We had 332 BCE. The world accepted it. You had to be complicit in the world to accept it because trade was going on. It was like, hey, I've been to Kemet. That was Kemet, and they were Black. The Greeks didn't come up with that. But it's working. Then you had the Romans conquering it. Then you had the Catholic Church. I remember I told someone that the Catholic Church was involved in slavery. Whoa, this was in the 1990s. And I said, the Catholic Church started slavery. They was like, no, it didn't happen. And I'm going to tell you where I got that knowledge from. John H. Johnson of Johnson Publications, Ebony, Jet Magazine, Fashion Fair, etc., published a 4-volume book series on Black America in 1973. And in volume 1, it talked about slavery. See, our ancestors, and I'm going to include my mother and father, as a little girl, reading was taught in the home. Because if our ancestors learned to read by candlelight or during the day in sacred places where they had to sneak to learn how to read, then there was no excuse for a person, a child, a Black child not being able to read. So now that you know, Black and Blackness is a chemical in your body. Blackness is biology. Whiteness is a construct. We already know that white supremacy is a construct because the Greeks absorbed that information from the Kemites, Black people, and presented that information as theirs to the world. White construct solidifies white supremacy construct. However, the majority of people who could connect with the frequency of divine oneness in the universe are Black people with a heavy chemical of Blackness, Kim. We are Black because our ancestors understood physics. A Black body in physics, a Black body is one that is able to absorb all the light that strikes it, which increases frequency. Know thyself. Know the creation of you. What's happening in the world's mindset. The Creator stated for me to write, the current belief system is not sufficient. I am Queen Mother Mayata. I am honored to bring the recreated 7 divine universal laws to you, so you will be able to know thyself and be able to choose. The era of divine civilization is here. Please subscribe to receive notifications of new episodes. Part 3.